Racing Championship. He has shown up today, crossing the line. He will win the first round of the season. He wins the Australian Grand Prix. F1 Nathan, on his debut, wins here in WRC. Right then, good afternoon everybody, and welcome along to the 6 p.m. commentary, the 6 p.m. stream here in MOR Esports, and it is the Teams Championship, the first round of the season. I believe it's the first round of the season, but of course it is season 1 of this Teams Championship, it says, and one that it's took me a little bit to get my head around because it is a lot different to what I'm usually used to, but I think I've just about got it, I'm hoping. I think I'm just about there. We're just looking, yes, so we are looking good. Right, Teams Championship then, everybody. And of course, 19 people here today. The teams racing tonight, it is Team Grapefruits, Atlas Racing, the Reds, and Zenjamin Motorsport then. 4 teams racing tonight. I think in total 8 teams with 5 people per team. There's a lot of people then involved in this particular tier. And yeah, it's booming for the 6 p.m. We haven't got the full grid, but we are pretty damn close. Just to make sure I've got the team members and names up on my screen, then we can get on with it properly. So yes, Team 1 then, which is Grapefruits. We have Maloon, Blake, MCL, Draco and Sideboy. All of those should be here today. Then Team 3, which is Atlas Racing. That is CJ. Then Shuxi, if I've said that right. Angry Paz. D Ghost. They are the 4 signed up for that one. I think we are missing a driver from that team today. Then we have got the Reds for Team 5, and that is Pastor Jay Donaldo, which is Jay, of course. Jensen, it is Prancing Horse, Spelling Spoof, Matthews as well, which is F1 Fabian. So a nice lineup today, and then of course Zenjamin Motorsports, which is Team 7, and that is Zen, KHR, Brody, Luke M, and Duran. So a lot of drivers here, and a lot of quick returning drivers as well, I have to say. I can see JP again, who's joining us again for this race today, who was, of course, joining us earlier on. Solar says Jack Crossley is back. Yes, I am. Good to see you, mate. Welcome in. Hopefully you're doing well. Welcome into everybody in the stream as well. So this is which track, of course, as you can see, it is Spain. We're here for the Spanish Grand Prix, chosen by one of the teams. And then we go to Madrid next. So 2 Spanish tracks. And, yeah, an afternoon of Spain, which is unfortunate for some and happy for some others. It depends on what your preference is. We're here for qualifying, first of all. And 13 minutes to go of this session. Then we've got a 50% race coming up after that. And MCL so far, who MCL, I think, yes, for the Grapefruits team, quickest. Then goes BP Ace over the line. That isn't too bad at all, is it, for Ace? On to that front row of the grid and pole position at this moment in time. So good effort, but still a long way to go, I have to say. As Ace racing for the Zenjamin Motorsports team, I believe. And just give me a little bit of a while to get used to it. I have commentated one league like this before with different team names, but this is so much more confusing because there's so many teams with so many drivers in and things like that. It's absolutely insane. But Ace ahead by 1 minute 13.5 by about 4/10 of a second then over MCL second place. Duran in 3rd, Fabian Best 4, Luke M in 5, P6 is Blake, P7 Daryl, 8 Sidemen, 9 Prancing Horse, 10 is Erox, I'm going to say, and JF1 the 11, Broker 12, Yeats in 13, Samulto here in P14, and running out of battery around the final turn, but across the line then for Samulto. What time will this be for him? P5 for him. Not a bad effort at all then for Samulto, as takes P5 with a 1:14.545. Rate deliveries, Jack. Okay, let's have a look. So this is Zenjamin Motorsports. Duran using that one. I like that. It's very nice. Out of 10? Out of 10? I'm going to say out of 10 for all of them. Ooh, it's a hard one. That's a very nice livery. I think it's got to be an 8 out of 10. That's a very nice livery indeed. MCL then, who is racing for the first team, which is Grapefruits. I do quite like that. It's a funky livery, but honestly, it's got to be I think it's a 5 out of 10, to be honest. I'm not a massive fan of that. It is quite nice, but not my favourite. We're going to go with Fabian Best, who races, to be honest, I don't know what team this is. Daryl. Let's see where Daryl races. I can just check really quickly. Let's see. I'm just trying to work it out. Let's go Prancing, or Jay's there. Never mind. I can see Jay's name in there. Jay is Team 5. That is the Reds. So the Reds then, Prancing Horse. There's a lot of drivers in the Reds. It's Daryl, who is in the car right now. That's a pretty nice livery. It's not too bad. I'm not the greatest fan of it, to be honest, though. I think that's a 6, to be honest. I think that's a 6. It is nice, but 6 out of 10 for me, to be honest. And then what livery haven't I done? I think Broker's livery. Oh, no, I've done that livery. We haven't done this one. Yeet's in right now. We might have done. He's in the pit lane. I've seen this livery. Not seen this one. I do not like that, to be honest. That is probably that's probably a 3 out of 10, to be honest. It's not ideal. The best one is by far this one here. Absolutely beautiful. That is the livery I like. That's my favourite livery of the day. As KHR then in that same livery, a 13.4, and the quickest time out of everybody so far. Quicker than Ace as well. A very nice effort from the Zenjamin Motorsports drivers. As MCL and Malone then for Grapefruits, 3 and 4. Quite high up there. And I think they're the only ones of their team in this session. Never mind, Sidemen's of that team as well, but not using the correct icon, which not looking like he is anyway. I think he's in the Grapefruit. Let's just have a look at this car. It should be. Yeah, it is, yes. So Darren on his way around in P10. I'm just trying to work all this out. This is so confusing. And Darren then P10 with the 1:14.780. He has so not a bad time at the minute. There's still 9 minutes to go. A long way of this session for drivers to set lap times and improve and things like that. Prancing Horse out there in the first set is down on the battery, but he is 2 tenths up on time. Used a lot of battery this lap and is going to need to start saving some and keeping some in reserves here for the remainder of this lap time, because he's going to need it. He's going to need it down the back straight and round the final corner to the main straight. Not always off the track, never mind. The lagging keeps continuing into this session as well. It happened last race too. But the lag is not ideal. As Prancing Horse apparently off the track, but seems okay. Running out of battery again. It's a 22.154, up by nearly a tenth of a second still on this lap time from P14 with a 15.2, going for an improvement with only 8 minutes to go. Not really many more chances then when he comes into the pit lane after this. Prancing Horse around the final turn then. No battery left in the car as the overtake mode gets activated too. Here comes Prancing Horse. It is going to be 7 whole seconds down apparently on lap time there. As Kian says, hello JC, watching from work. I respect that, mate. Very nice indeed. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. We are here for the Teams Championship on the Saturday evening. And teams racing tonight, it's Grapefruits, Atlas Racing, the Reds and Zenjamin Motorsports. As a nice lineup, a very, very nice lineup. And a lot of fast drivers here today as well. I've got to say, very quick drivers, and always do have quick drivers now. The league gets quicker and quicker week by week. As Ace across the line, one of the quickest of this league. It's a 13.345. And goes quickest out of everybody. The Bacon says should be here right now, but I'm in Greece and it's so nice here. I am so jealous, mate. I get how you're feeling. I've just come back from America and it was absolutely amazing. I miss it. I really do. I hate England. It's not good. But nice to get back to the commentary because it has been a while. It has been a long while. A week and a half. Maybe it doesn't sound a lot to you guys, but It does feel a long time, given that I was doing 3 or 4 commentaries a day. It does feel very long indeed, but it was a nice break. Good to be back at it now, though. And my 3rd commentary back already. It's crazy how quickly it goes. Cameron, yes, it will be too late, unfortunately, mate, as you need to get yourself signed up in a team. So you wouldn't just be able to hop in, I don't think, which is a shame. But we should be getting full grid here, really. But it is what it is, and not always going to get the numbers that you want. With 6 minutes to go, an ace so far ahead, and the quickest driver for Zenjamin Motorsports from KHR. Both drivers doing very well. And their teammates Brody, Luke M and Duran, who are all here today. Samuel Toe on the track, then this should be into the pit lane. Here it is. Duran then, we've just mentioned his name. He's on his way around. Potentially a lap time here for him then with the 14.205. Oh, good point. Never mind. Okay, Spitball, Ollie Southall will only be 20 max. It's 5 per team with 14s. Makes sense, actually. So, yes, all round there for Duran. Just caught him in a spin as he heads backwards into the gravel. But, yes, I take back my words then. It is only 20 drivers, so we are 1 away from that full grid. As 4 teams of 5 makes the 20. So, of course, 22 wouldn't really work. 5 minutes left. We've just seen Duran go round, who was potentially up on time, but won't be anymore. But does have time to go again. Only 1 or 2 more laps, though, will be allowed. And of course, his tyres, lap by lap, are going off, getting worse. So he's going to want to get it done as soon as possible. As Blake in P12 up by 0.2 of a second then in that first sector. And now through to the 2nd and 3rd sectors here. All the way down the back straight on the low fuel mode. He's running as light as a feather here is Blake as he uses all the battery down towards the end of sector 2, and that might unfortunately screw his lap up at the end. He is up by 4.5 of a second then on this lap overall, but will the Delta stay green as he heads around the final turn and up towards the line then here in Spain. Blake with a 14.692 is up by 0.4 of a second, and he's up to 7th place. Loses half of that time. It is nearly 0.3 of a second found here. But Blake in 7th with a great improvement with a 14.4. Now 0.2 of a second needed to Duran. As in the chat. Might have to ban Blake for wrong emblem. I think there might be someone else with the wrong emblem as well. But yes, ban him. Ban him. Makes my job harder as well. We're in the closing stages of qualifying now, and as I mentioned, a 50% race will be coming up after this. Just waiting for the final few times to come in. Outlaps now starting to appear. Final flying laps are starting to occur. Darrell now in 8th position on his way around. In the 5th team then, the Reds. Down towards the first few corners then. Can this be a good lap time for him? It's P8 with a 14.454. He's looking decent so far. The car that looks very Italian, to be honest. And, of course, here in Spain, not really very fitting. But Darrell, the car looks very nice. I've got to say, it does look decent. I didn't rate it amazingly, but I think the only reason I didn't rate it amazingly is because of how much I like the other one, to be honest. Darrell here with a 14.445 then. On to the end of this lap. It's 4.5 of a second found. It's looking decent. It's been a positive delta all the way through. And building on that lap time, only 1 sector to go, the final third. And Darrell for the Reds, round the final turn and across the line. Can this be anywhere near where he'd like it to be? It's 4th place for him, a 13.8. What an effort then from Darrell as he goes up to 4th position here, behind MCL by about 0.1 of a second. as he crossed the line for MCL, a 13.7 at best. He's 4 seconds down, but potentially starting a lap time here. Malone as well out there on the track. Samulto down by a 10.5. Duran on an outlap. Fabian Best potentially starting a lap time now around the final turn with the full throttle and the battery being burned for the Reds as well. His teammate has just gone up to P4 of Darrell. And Fabian Best here trying to do the same kind of thing, lagging a little bit as we watch him on this lap. Hopefully he can keep it fairly clean. Only 30% battery, but he is generating it back. And actually at this point in the track, it's not a bad amount to have. That was a bad corner though. Maybe it was the lag that, you know, made it look worse on the screen, but we have to go by what we see. And Fabian Best on a push lap. His teammate lining up in front of him at the moment on the track. You can just see for a toe, but it's looking like he slowed down, to be honest, but I've got no idea. I think he has slowed down. The lag is not ideal, is it? Really isn't. JP comes then through the first sector with a 14.6. I didn't see what that first sector was because it didn't come up. His car looking very like bubblegum, to be honest, with a 14.635. And from P12, doing what he can to improve. Of course, a 20-car grid here with 19 today. JP giving it everything, racing for the 8th team. I think he's here as a reserve today. It's KHR with a 1:13.250 to the quickest time and spins around in a very flamboyant fashion. Goes around then, everybody, a 13.250 at best. BP Ace in second place, a 13.345. Yeet retires from the session then in the closing stages. But a very nice session so far for these Zengerman Motorsports drivers in 1 and 2. MCL in 3rd. And coming round to end off this lap running as light as a feather, using every last bit of battery then. He heads round these final turns now. Foot flat to the floor as he will burn everything now towards that line. MCL for P4 with 9 thousandths of a second found. Doesn't gain as much as he'd like to, unfortunately. And that's going to be the end of that for him. At the end of this session, everybody. Duran on his final push lap. He's got his teammate in front giving him that lovely toe, but he might have just got in the way there potentially. Onto the closing stages of this lap. Duran heading round. I don't think this could be an improvement. He slowed down. Luke M then has invalidated, so that'll be the end of his day today. Sidemen crosses the line for P12. We're going to have to go back to Duran now just to see if he has found any time or not, but it isn't looking like it. And I think at the end of this session, it's KHR on pole position ahead of BPA second place and Darrell in 3rd. Then MCL4, Malone rounding off the top 5. What a qualifying session, everybody. The 50% race coming your way in a few moments' time. Well, here is your finishing results, everybody, and a lovely top 2 time. So I never realised. Oh, bang on. It has been a long time. It's been actually, I don't know when it was, but it was a few months ago that I saw that happen. You never normally see that, especially for pole position, but it's happened again. A 13.250 for both drivers. It's equal time, but because KHR set the time beforehand, I think he keeps it. It's a second place then, as Darrell setting 3rd. P4 MCL, 5 Malone, P6 Samulto, P7 Duran, 8 Fabian Best, 9 Luke M, and 10 is JP Combs. Can you believe it ends up like that? Absolutely brilliant. The same time for pole. I love to see things like that. It's beautiful. As we have not great looking conditions, to be honest. Might be rain if it stays like this. Very cloudy. Rain looks like it's ready to pour. Well, here we go then, everybody. Welcome in. If you're just joining us, 19 people here racing in the Teams Championship with KHR and Ace setting the same time and giving KHR that pole position for Zenjamin Motorsports then. 5 drivers per team. And I've got to say, what a qualifying that was, especially the ending. Absolutely love to see things like that. But the teammates start 1 and 2. Daryl 3, Maloon 4, Samilto rounds off the top 5, Duran 6, Fabian Best 7, Luke M 8, MCL 9, and JP Combs will be taking that 10th place. The teammates weaving. It's very synchronised a moment ago. And I absolutely love that car. What a livery, I've got to say. Lining up then on the grid. KHR from pole, Ace second place, Daryl third. Everybody now lining up on the grid with 19 people here. And the last driver of CJ joining us from last race earlier on to now here in the Teams Championship in P19. Dead last in tonight's Grand Prix. But a great race ahead of us here in Spain. And the teammates lock out the front row of the grid. KHR then out in front from his teammate Ace. How well can he get away on this start? 5 lights ahead of the drivers. The teammate's going to give it everything. And it is lights out and away we go here in the Teams Championship in Spain. And KHR then down towards the first corner. Has got his teammate trying to bring the fight to him. Looking for a move up the inside line, but he's not nowhere near enough to send a lunge there, and it will be KHR leading through the first few. Down at the back then, drivers falling down the order already. Fabian Best down to 12. Down at the back, Duran and Samilto now in the wall as well. It's been an awful start from them. Duran down to P18 then on the start as Ace in second place, and Daryl trying to bring the fight to him. Up the inside line for Daryl. It's going to be second place for him for a moment as Ace takes it back. And I think that's going to be Ace's place into second place now. Daryl third. JP Combs with another good start in the race. Then up to fourth place from P10, I believe that was. What a start from JP. Always good then on the starts. Up to fourth. Now trying to get ahead of Daryl as well. But he has got a bit of pressure coming from Maloon behind that. As here comes Luke M, I believe that is. Or might be Blake round the outside line. Blake tries to get ahead, and he does, into 8th position ahead of Luke M. The teammates now come through. Of course, Blake using the, I think Blake and Sidemen using the wrong banners here for their teams. As around the final turn across the line, 33 laps of racing. The second lap already begins, and it's KHR ahead by 0.2 of a second over Ace in second place. Here comes Ace then, look for the inside line move, and he goes ahead into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. The teammates dueling it out here, battling away on the first few laps. KHR will have to settle for second place at the moment. Daryl will go down to third, and he's just doing what he can to keep himself above the water. He's got JP Combs trying to catch him, who has gone up 6 places from the start. JP started P10. Absolutely insane start for JP, I've got to say, as he's now going to try and push on Daryl if he can. Behind that then, people losing out. Yellow flags coming out for one of the drivers. It might have been D Ghost. As green flags come out again, and these guys at the front are never going to leave each other alone. A very nice start for many drivers. Can KHR get himself back in front though as the leader? This is not really where he'd want to be. In second place, P1 is where he started. He doesn't want to finish any less than that today. Especially losing out to his teammate would anger him even more. Ace in front. KHR putting the pressure on now, applying it very evenly up towards the line. Looking for the inside line move. They go level into turn one. It's KHR who comes out as your leader through the first corner. And Ace back down to second place here on the third lap of 33. As here's a battle for you then. D Ghost and Samilton at the back. As D Ghost is going to do what he can to just outrun Samilton here. I think Samilton is going to have it up the inside line though. And D Ghost just doing what he can, but not enough this time around to maintain that place. Drops down to the very back of the grid at the start then. Well, Zenjamin Motorsports are doing exceptionally well up at the front there. Other teammates a little bit further back. I mean, the top three is looking brilliantly. He's looking absolutely brilliant, sorry. The laps seem to be going by so much quicker here than the last track. It really is weird. You know, we're going on to the fourth lap now already of this Grand Prix. And it's KHR as your leader, but maybe not for long because Ace is going back for it again. He goes up the inside line and into the Grand Prix lead once more. So it's just back and forth between the drivers here. As Yeet retires from the session, and that is a virtual safety car. Not a full safety car, it is a virtual safety car here at the moment, as the teammates pulled away well, but they're going to be probably angry with this. They want to get on with it, and this is just slowing them down in their tracks. Luckily, it's not a full safety car here, so we will get racing again very soon. It should be a short safety car, a short VSC, sorry. As Ace will be the leader from KHR, who took pole. This has been a very nice start to this race, everybody. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. As CJ with a drive-through penalty speeding under the VSC. We still haven't gone racing again, but a drive-through penalty there for CJ. What a shame that is then. Is in the pit lane for MCL as well. He's probably getting on a new wing here coming in at this point. Unless, never mind, on the soft compound tyres, he's going to get those tyres changed early on, isn't he, of course. Fair play. Will half the pit stop time you'd normally lose under VSC, but it has gone green as he's in there. He still will have gained a little bit of time. It might work out later to gain a few places. But Ace and KHR as your leaders, and the teammates out in front. Daryl third, as JP comes in 4, and he's had a phenomenal start from P10 all the way up to 4th position today. Only 5 laps in at 33. The action's already been brilliant, I have to say. CJ and Broker at the back, having a bit of a scrap, swapping around as Ace takes the fastest lap, and he's already 0.8 of a second ahead of KHR here. He might be able to get this done here and get in front of that 1 second gap to, to take the 1 second and to stop KHR from getting that overtake mode. That is the main goal here, because the overtake gives you a little bit more battery power, and that is what basically allows people to stay close enough. So these guys at the front battling away, but Ace's main goal here is to get that 1 second gap ahead, and then he should be okay. 0.4 of a second at the moment though between that time and where they are right now. who's down in P10 and 11. Broker and CJ are swapping around places. Malone and JP as well in P4 and P5. Here we go, a bit of a battle between these guys. Malone goes round the outside line and the move's already completed before we get to see it on the TV camera. Ahead into P4. As here these guys go again in the back. Malone and JP. JP trying to get himself up the inside line. Quite an aggressive driver. It works out most of the time for him, but sometimes can end in tears for some drivers. That move could have ended bad, but all managed to back out on time. A Sam turn, prancing horse here, battling away as well. I think these guys, the ghosted for some reason, and makes me think they're not in the session, to be honest. Could be the AI driving that car. And CJ comes out of the pit lane at the very, very back, unfortunately for him. Wing damage as well. The wing did not get sorted front left. As here's a move happening then. Jay keeping Duran behind. Duran trying to find a gap then past him and make that move. Not looking like it's going to work just yet. Samilto, though, gets ahead of Broker. That move's done and dusted. Might even continue on here as well. Broker just trying to find his way through the order. Really do like that livery, I've got to say. But down the straight we go once more, and MCL trying to put the pressure now on Broker. Jeff, one in the pit lane, as one of the grapefruit drivers, giving it everything he can here for an overtake. As he will go round the outside line. I don't think it'll be enough, or it might just be trying to put that pressure on and forcing Broker wide. He does get through to P10. Broker goes very wide there, loses places down to P11, unfortunately for him. JP comes now in the pit lane for some new tyres. The softs have gone 9 laps for him. And now comes in to get those changed. Brand new mediums coming on. As Broker with the first time penalty of the afternoon. 9 laps in of 33. Broker comes out in P16 out of the pit lane now on brand new mediums. Nice wing as well, looking all good for him as these guys battle along. Sidemen trying to get through past Prancing Horse, I believe, is an AI driver at the minute, as he may have got kicked from the session. That really isn't worth watching at the moment. But these guys still battling away, and there's only half a second between them. Can KHR close that gap between him and his teammate in the next few laps? He's already done that. Now comes down to 3 attempts, went down to 2 for a moment. Blake looks for the inside. Blake goes for that move. And into P5 he goes on Luke M, but sends it a bit too deep now. And it compromises the exit, unfortunately. That's going to let Luke M try and take it back. Blake with the speed, though, into 5. And it takes that position back once again over Luke M. Well, here comes Luke M as he's set himself up again for a good move. And they are trying to make their way through the order, are the Zenjamin Motorsports team. As Ace and KH are already ahead and leading. Luke M and Duran, the next two for that team, as well as Broker. Broker further back than most people, though. But these guys still in the fight for a lot of points here. Past the back marker they go already, passing cars, flying on the 11th lap of 33. We are 1/3 now into the Grand Prix, everybody. And it is Ace in front still from KHR, and the gap really hasn't changed too drastically. I've got to say, these guys, the teamwork between them is very good. It's not about who can get in front of who, really. I guess it's more about them, you know, building the gap behind and how far can they push it together to, you know, to extend that gap behind. That is what they're trying to do here. It's working out well. There's a 3.8 second gap at the minute. Luke M and Duran now in the pit lane. The other team members for Zenjamin Motorsports coming out now of the pits on new tyres. As Fabian Bess as well goes in. You're going to see what Duran's on, as well as it's the hards there for Luke M. Duran will be on the new hards as well. Well, the only driver to retire is Yeats in this race, and we haven't had a single safety car just yet. The only form of it was a virtual safety car earlier on, which did end up getting away fairly quickly, and we managed to get racing again. We did have drivers come in the pit lane as well to try and maximise on that too. Let's see how that works out for them later. I believe one of them was a man, MCL, in 7th place, and that potentially may have worked out for him when everybody else starts to make their pit stops in a bit. We've still got the top 5 all on 12-lap old mediums. Haven't come in one single time yet since the start. As Blake ahead of Malone. Malone in the pit lane now, getting on some brand new tyres and on his way out now. New tyres are the hards, which is very expected. Here comes MCL on JP Combs as well as he tries to send a lunge up the inside line, and there wasn't just enough room at all there. MCL backs off, and JP sitting pretty happy that he can maintain that place. We're now letting MCL through here. Maybe JP did something that was a bit naughty, and that, you know, allowed him to let JP back. JC, what's the best livery here in your opinion? The best livery, in my opinion, here is this one. This is absolutely beautiful. I love this livery, which I believe is the is Zenjamin Motorsports with the best livery. These guys at the front, it looks absolutely lovely. You can see there the way it shines in the light. It would look absolutely amazing at a night race, wouldn't it? I've got to say, would be even better at a night race. But lap 15 of 33, we are nearing half race distance now. And it is Daryl and Blake both in the pit lane. Mediums coming off. It's going to be new hards coming on now. Coming out of the pit lane in P7. Yeah, late night Singapore on that livery would go hard. I completely agree. It would look amazing late night Singapore. That is the track. And Saudi, really. Saudi looks good with cars at night. That was a move, and that was MCL ahead of JP, who's going to have to settle for 5th at the moment. As the leaders, the teammates, Ace and KHR, both in the pit lane now, coming in for some new tyres. The 15-lap-old mediums have had their time. They both come in then. Of course, teammates, but don't need to worry about the double stacking here. As they both head down the pit lane, they're going to come out together on the brand new hard compound tyres, and the gap that they've gained from the guys behind has really worked out, because now they come out as your leaders again. They've got a free pit stop. And now your leaders, Ace and KHR 1 and 2, Daryl 3, JP 4 with MCL 5, his teammate Maloon in 6, P7 is Sidemen, 8 Luke M, 9 Blake and 10 Duran at this moment in time. As Yeat's still the only driver to retire, which is really good going so far. You know, not many people retiring, which is really where we want to be standing with the race in the league. It's absolutely brilliant. Hopefully, it can continue. As these two here, the dominant forces of this tier so far, I've got to say, brand new tyres leading this race. 1/8 of a second between them, 7.5 now. And the gap does come down slightly as KHR starts the game, but all they've got to do is work together, pull themselves along. And the gap between them and the guys behind is just going to be astronomically large. It's JP with MCL catching again. MCL really trying to bring the battle to him. He was already in 4th place a moment to go. JP's got back through. Now MCL's going to try and take it back. Does not want to settle for this 5th place here. Knows he has the pace on JP as well. And it will be a lunge up the inside as JP leaves enough room. MCL just not settling just yet. He knows he's got the pace to do it. Just needs to find the right opportunity, the right space. the right corner to do it. Once that all comes together, it will work for MCL here, as long as he has the pace. And it is a brilliant exit, but very nearly ploughs into the backside of JP as they do find themselves level, as JP with a penalty, the first one for him today. They are level down in towards turn one as MCL trying to get ahead. Once again, JP closes the door. Does not let him have a taste of it just then. MCL this time will get a taste of it though, as they are still level around the outside line for him. MCL in fourth. Using all of the battery. JP does not want to let off though. It's up the inside line for him. Nearly contact between the drivers. MCL is your leader of this battle and does get in front to P4, but it's still going on here. And now the battle's done and dusted. MCL into 4, closes the door. 4th place for him. MCL, Malone, JP all within a three-way battle here on the 19th lap of 33. And up the inside line, trying it was that Malone, I think it was, on JP. MCL has been deposited down to 6th, unfortunately. And here comes Malone for that move on JP. Round the inside line, JP gets overtaken then for the first time in a little while. As MCL will try and do the same, the teammates forcing their way through past the commentator here, who's really putting up a big wall and saying, no thank you, you're not coming through today. But Malone has found a way through. Not his teammate so far though. MCL still trying to find the instruction manual, you may say, to this overtake. Can he get in front? Oh, he runs it very deep, cuts the grass. MCL to 6th and losing places now. He is more than a second between him as Ace takes the fastest lap. Ace still putting down a lot of good time here and still half a second between these two. Look at them dragging each other along. Now the gap's 6.8. It's been a properly dominant race from them as JP makes a pit stop. Well, Blake picks up a 3-second time penalty, and on that note, we'll talk about them really quickly. Blake picks up a 3. JP has a 3 to his name as well. Broker and Aerox have a penalty 2 with 3 seconds, and the biggest is CJ with 6 this evening, which to him is not going to affect him because he's so far back. But you get that kind of penalty higher up the grid, you're completely done for, especially if you've just had a safety car when the whole pack is all within a few tenths of a second. Then you really are done for, because you end up going from maybe second place all the way down to P9 or P10, which is insane. It really is, but it is the way it goes in Formula One if you get time penalties. Broken out, joins the list of penalty drivers. Penalty going to him and a lot of others here at the moment. They do start to build up. We're on lap 21 of 33. As Ace is your leader still by his teammate. Only 0.3 of a second between them though. The gap is coming down by quite a bit here. Can KHR close the gap to his teammate? Ace getting past a back marker here of Fabian Best down in P14. So these guys have overtaken a lot of people, haven't they? It's been a very nice race from them. Ace still leading. It's KHR very nearly tried to take that place. With 3/10 of a second the gap, it absolutely is possible. We've not seen a gap that small between them for a few laps now. And if this can continue on, it will be an even smaller gap when we get onto that main straight. KHR very good at bringing the gap down. A lot more battery here over Ace as well by about 40% difference. That's going to make all the difference if he wants to get ahead of his teammate. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe they're just dragging each other along. But if he does want to make that overtake, it's now or never. A lot more battery. Full blown now for him. Pelt up toward the backside of him, but he does stay behind. And yeah, he's got no interest of making an overtake, has he? This is just staying behind, then teammates pulling each other through. He's got no interest of overtaking at all as they work together to extend that margin from the guys behind. 8.7 seconds now, and it is still gaining. Some drivers close here in the mid-pack. It is JP and Sidemen who have only got a few tenth of a second between them. Can Sidemen get ahead of JP here? This could be a nice overtake if possible. CJ with a penalty now. What a move there. JP in 8. We've got some proper action happening now in the race, which is nice to see. JP in 8, but Sidemen doing everything he can to look for that move up the inside line. Couldn't do it this time around. Lap 24 then does begin for them as they cross the line here. And the leader's still fighting away with it. 4/10 between them and 10 seconds now the gap between them and the guys behind. It is insane how much that gap is building. As we're going to go with Sidemen again and see how close he can get to JP here for a move. Might just be very close because it would be a move here up the inside line. It's contact then as Sidemen tries to get in front. Gets caught up there by JP. Sidemen down to, or up to 8 now apparently. JP goes down to 9. How has that happened? MCL in 10. Maybe letting him through again. Very nice on the power there for JP. The car seems fairly balanced on these hards. There's only 8 laps left as well. He's really putting the pressure on Sidemen here till the end. Just gaining. The revs hit the max as JP up the inside line. Sending a move here on Sidemen, who isn't wanting to let off at all and going off the track nearly for JP. But through being aggressive, he goes through to 7th place and gets the move done here. he's not waiting around at all, is he? JP into 7th. As MCL and Sidemen, the teammates swap around, and you may not notice their teammates on the screen because they're not using the same icons, of course, as you can see there. And MCL's back on JP, and that move has already been completed before we can get there. JP goes down to 8 because MCL with the speed gets through to 7. Sidemen even might be able to do something about this as he brings the action in 9th place with a bit of speed here, only about 0.2 of a second between them. As he just isn't catching enough, is he? 0.3 of a second the gap now as Samilto picks up a time penalty. I think the first one for Samilto today. It might be a second. It is the first for Samilto. Ahead there, somebody went very well off the track. I don't know who it was, but you can just see it from the cars of Ace and KHR as they make their way down the main straight. And they've now got 11.8 seconds to the guys behind. The gap is just getting massive, and lap by lap getting even bigger. It is incredible to see how well they can do. KHR catching up on his teammate, but the plan is never to make the overtake. They're just staying with each other here. They've got a bit of a pack forming here as it looks on the map, but it may be full of back markers here. It is, I think, as you can never quite tell where the back markers are. But Erox then with a 3-second time penalty, which is not ideal. A lot of penalties now starting to come about, and they do start to creep up as we get to the end. Daryl running his own race here, as well as Maloon. Both started where they are right now, and nobody really around them. It's just them, the car, and the track. As Duran now makes a pit stop at the end, and he's on the hard compound. Let's see how old they are. They are 16 laps old then. His hard compounds get changed, and it should be the mediums now till the end. He could even do the softs, to be honest. I think it'll be the mediums, though, which it is. And it will come out of the pit lane now in P10, maybe P11. It will be 11. The Sidemen just trying to find the inside line here on JP Combs. Does not open up for him, unfortunately, as he tries to go around the outside now, giving it absolutely everything he has, but still, the pace is not enough. Sidemen just having to settle on the backside of JP here, but honestly, don't think this is over. These guys are really battling hard here. Prancing Horse and D Ghost in P15 and 16. We're not seeing a position change between these guys in a while. D Ghost then trying to get in front. I think these guys have disconnected. Yes, they have. Both out. Fabian Best out as well. CJ still continuing on, 40 seconds behind everybody else. That is some perseverance then from him. As KHR right on the backside of his teammate. I'd love to see at the very end if KHR decides to make that overtake on his teammate and try and take away the win. Will they try and have a bit of a scrap at the end with a 14.2 second gap? Would be pretty good, wouldn't it? They've got a lot of breathing zone in case something goes wrong. Just getting so much closer around the final turn as KHR has the pace here over Ace as they extend the gap even further. KHR at the inside line. He makes that overtake for the first time in a long time. 3 laps to go and into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. But will Ace take that back is the question that lingers now. 60% battery for Ace, 50% then for KHR. As that was insanely squirrely then. All the way round for KHR. Managed to catch the car though. Only 3 laps to go. Do not want to be having any big mistakes here. Especially 14 seconds worth of mistakes, because then he would get overtaken by Darrell. But they are quite far behind. Well, Ace has his teammates in front. Honestly, I think KHR might take this for the win now. He got in front, and you can clearly see the pace that he had. He's already putting half a second between him and his teammate. There's Duran and Samilto, 10 and 11 as well. Duran on the outside line. Here comes Samilto for a late lunge. Does not have the confidence to make it, unfortunately. But it's been a really nice race, and I appreciate every single one of you joining us along. Then we are going on to your penultimate lap in a moment. And then the final lap of this Spanish Grand Prix. Good to have all the support in the chat this evening for the very nearly full grid of the team's championship here in MOR Esports. There's KHR in front of his teammate Ace. They've dominated very well all afternoon then for the team of Zenjamin Motorsport. A beautiful livery for them as well. As Darrell runs in third for the podium, Maloon 4, Blake 5 with a penalty, MCL 6, P7 is JP Combs, who just about gets ahead of Sidemen there and makes the move as CJ with a penalty now. Sidemen nowhere near enough to make that move and get in front. So that'll be it for this, well, that lap. Now on to lap 32. And Ace now is 0.8 of a second behind KHR. KHR has the pace, I've got to say. You could tell when he was behind, he had that pace. Now he's been unleashed. It may be a problem for Ace to keep on his backside. Jay with a penalty as we head round the final corner here in Spain for the final lap of the Grand Prix here in MOR Esports Teams Championship for the 6 p.m. event today. I'm live again in about 45 to 50 minutes time for the 8 p.m. race as well, which I believe is also teams. And we're going to do it all again, everybody. But we have to round off this event first, and it has been a very good job for Zenjamin Motorsports, who have got 2 drivers up in 1 and 2 and have been there basically all race. The gap between them and the nearest driver behind of Darrell on the podium is 19 whole seconds. might even get that over 20 before they get to the line. It has been a purely dominant performance from both of them today. And although Ace did lead for majority of the race, KHR managed to find his groove and managed to get that overtake. Burst onto the scene. It was him then into the race lead and out in front. From taking pole back where he started this race here in Spain, round the final few corners then, the teammates will cross the line together. An absolutely brilliant race from both of them today. It's KHR who wins the Spanish Grand Prix, and Ace comes across the line for second place. Teammates for Zenjamin Motorsports together across the line. Daryl then will cross the line in a few moments' time for third place. 19 seconds then down the road across the line for him. P3 for Daryl. P4 then will be Maloon when he gets there. It's Scooters TV in the chat. Nice to have you with us, mate. Glad you've hopefully you've enjoyed the action today. Good to see you. Let's cross the line for Maloon. Blake then as well. MCL when he gets there. JP Comms will be coming around very soon to take P7, but we'll lose it on penalties to Sidemen. 7 for Sidemen, 8 for JP, 9 for, oh never mind, 9 for Luke M now as Duran in P10. Samuel will take 11. And then we're waiting for Fabian Best and Prancing Horse. Just Samuel now coming round. It'll be P11 for him. No worries, Scooters. I appreciate you joining, mate. As Daryl is very happy with the podium, and it's thoroughly deserved, I've got to say. Really clean race from his side. But what an event, everybody. What a race. Really appreciate you joining us for this one this evening. Really, really fun one to get involved with and watch. And I'm live again at 8 PM to do it all again for one final race, everybody. Well, here is your finishing results then. The race winner, KHR, from fastest lap of Aerox. It is driver of the day to Sidemen Duran with the most overtakes, and the cleanest driver to Maloon. It's KHR for the win. Ace second place, and a very good finish then for this team of Zenjamin Motorsports. Really nice. Daryl third, Maloon 4, Blake 5, MCL 6, Sidemen 7, 8 JP, 9 is Luke M, and 10 is Duran. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. If you want some more action, I will be back to do it all again in about 40 minutes' time for the 8 PM teams race once more. Hopefully you enjoyed. Have a great evening, and if you're joining us again later, I will see you in a bit. Good night.